New update. AITA for kicking my brother out of my wedding for making my fiancé cry. My brother ruined my wedding with his mean-spirited speech. He displayed embarrassing photos of my wife and made hurtful jokes about her weight, causing her to cry while he laughed. I kicked him out, and my parents were furious with me. Original post. My wedding was this past weekend, and I'm honestly still in shock over what happened. My fiancé, now wife, and I have been together for 7 years. We've gone through everything together. Moving in, job losses, her battle with anxiety, everything. So our wedding day was supposed to be our day to finally celebrate all that, right? Well, it was, until my brother decided to ruin it. For context, my brother, 30M, has always had a weird thing about pranks. He calls them jokes, but honestly, they've always been mean-spirited and embarrassing. Growing up, I'd laugh it off or get mad, and he'd say I was being too sensitive. But this time, it went way too far. During our reception, he got up to give a speech. I thought it would be nice. Maybe he'd say something heartfelt for once. But no. Instead, he pulls out a fucking slideshow of hilarious photos of my wife. Old ones from her Instagram where she's crying, looking vulnerable, or just super unflattering. And he starts making jokes about her weight fluctuations, saying how she used to look like a twig when we first started dating, and now she's more well-fed. My wife's face turned white. She started crying quietly. And my brother? He just kept going, laughing like he was the funniest guy on the planet. The whole room was dead silent. I saw red. I stood up, walked right over to him, and told him to leave, right in the middle of his speech. I said he was done, and I didn't care if he was my brother. My wife was humiliated. He tried to brush it off, saying I was ruining the fun and that everyone else thought it was funny. No one laughed, not one person. He refused to leave at first, so I told security to get him out. He stormed out, calling me a fucking drama queen on the way out. Now, my parents are furious with me for embarrassing my brother at my own wedding. They think I overreacted, that I should have let it slide because he didn't mean it. My mom even said my wife was overreacting too, and that this was all just part of his sense of humor. My wife hasn't stopped crying since. I told my family we're taking a break from them, but now my phone is blowing up with texts from my mom and dad, saying I've fractured the family and ruined my own wedding over a joke. I get that I blew up, but I couldn't stand seeing my wife so hurt. Did I go too far, AITA? Update. Hey everyone, I posted here a little while ago about what went down at my wedding, and I just wanted to say thank you for all your comments and support. It's been a rough week, but I figured I'd update everyone on what's happened since then. After kicking my brother out, I stuck to my word and told my family we were taking a break. I blocked my brother on everything, and my wife and I decided to focus on each other for the week, just trying to recapture some of the joy that was stolen from us on our big day. We went on a mini honeymoon to a cabin we'd rented and tried to shut out the drama for a bit. However, as soon as we got back, my parents showed up unannounced. They claimed they just wanted to talk it out, but the second they sat down, it was clear they were there to defend my brother. They kept repeating that I overreacted and that he was just trying to be funny. My mom even said, "You know how your brother is. He didn't mean to hurt anyone." I told them that whether he meant it or not, he did hurt my wife, and that's not something I can just brush off. My dad then hit me with, "Family is family. You don't turn your back on blood," and I honestly lost it. I told them that my family is the one I chose to build with my wife, and if they can't respect her, then they don't get to be a part of our lives. They left in a huff, saying that I was being manipulated and that my wife was too sensitive. The day after that, my brother tried reaching out, through a mutual cousin this time, saying he didn't mean any harm and that he's willing to forgive me if I apologize for embarrassing him in front of everyone. This absolutely floored me. I realized in that moment that he still doesn't see what he did as wrong. I haven't responded, and I don't plan to. My wife and I have started couples therapy, not because there's anything wrong between us, but because I want to make sure that she feels supported and knows that I'm fully on her side. It's been helping her process what happened, and I think it's helping me realize just how toxic my brother's behavior has always been. We've decided to have a small, private vow renewal next year, just us and a few close friends, to reclaim what that day was supposed to be for us. In the meantime, we're focusing on our future together and cutting out anyone who doesn't respect us as a couple. So yeah, maybe I did fracture my family, but if my brother's jokes are more important to them than my wife's happiness, then I'm honestly okay with that. Thank you again to everyone who reached out. It meant more than you know. Comments. Commenter. NTA. As we said in your previous post, screw your family. You deserve a good life with your wife, OP. Plan a good life with your wife. That requires that you sever ties with your brother and your parents. None of them has a moral compass. Commenter. This is exactly why your brother is the way he is. Your parents allowed this behavior with using excuses to defend him. Who needs enemies when you have family like that? I wish you and your wife all the best for the future. Story 2. New update. My husband cheated on me because I am not feminine enough and don't take good care of him. First post. My husband booked an Airbnb for 2 in our own city and met a woman there. I saw it in his email. He booked an Airbnb in our city. My husband owns a real estate company that is doing great. He has 29 employees, and he deals with properties for sell, not rent. Also, he deals mostly with office buildings, and in rare cases with luxurious residences, not with rather cheap random Airbnbs for rent for one day. I asked if he met there with someone. He said he didn't, that he went to sleep there because we had pest control that day and it was toxic. But he specified 2 people there in the email. I called the Airbnb owner and tried my luck. I said, I am the woman who spent her night there on 2309, and I wonder if my umbrella is there. She said she will look for it, and then asked if my university exams went well. A few minutes later, she called to tell me no umbrella is there, and I should ask my boyfriend if he took it as he left a few hours after I did. On 23, I was out of the city myself, so he could have bring a woman in our house if he wanted to cheat. But on 2309, there was a woman there. On 2309, he booked the apartment too. Also, university exams. That woman was young. My husband is 41. I am going crazy here. I talked to him again and told him about the call to Airbnb. He admitted he met with that student, but that she is the daughter of someone who wants to buy an apartment. She had a flight the next day, so it was all last minute. He invited her to that apartment and they talked in the kitchen. He decided to lie to me because he knew it sounded weird and I would overthink I am dying here, as I already have self-esteem issues. He is better looking than me, more confident than me. I feel like I live in his shadow. I always feared cheating but convinced myself it would not happen. Is there any chance he is telling the truth? I feel like a clown, but is there a chance it was just work? Update. If you remember my previous post, my husband, who is 41, booked an Airbnb with a woman who is 24. I thought 25, but is 24. He lied to me that she was just a customer. He owns a real estate company, daughter of a possible customer. All lies and stupid ones. In the end, he confessed that he cheated on me with her because he loved what she did for him. She waited for him every time with freshly cooked fancy food that she cooked. She can listen to him talk about his day for how long he wants. She is feminine, has very long hair. I keep mine shorter because it got thin with age, and always puts him first. That he is a man, and he needs having a woman who needs him like this. So he blamed me. He said he doesn't love her, and never will. That he is happy with me, having an independent woman by his side who has a career on her own. But he just felt the need to have that traditional old-school feel of a woman like her from time to time. That he found it fascinating that a 24-year-old woman in this age and time can be so feminine and sensitive. He really told me all about how great she is, and that I should understand why it was so hard to resist her. He called her a good young woman who lacked the vulgarity of this era. I told him, yeah, a good young woman who is a saint who sleeps with a married man. To which he replied, yeah, because she loves me. But I made it clear that I love you. I am just speechless and want to throw a chair at him. This wasn't even the first time he cheated, but I think it was the first long-term thing. I didn't contact the mistress, but my sister-in-law. I asked her if she knew her. My pretext was that I saw she was studying marketing, and her name was listed on a site for paid publicity, which is true. That's how I researched her on FB, and saw that my sister-in-law is friends with the woman's father, and my sister-in-law knew immediately. She called her by the nickname. I asked if she knew the girl personally, and her answer was yes, that they met several times and she is very sweet. I asked about the context, and she said that Catherine, fake name of course, and her father are both in the marketing, and both of them helped her and my husband with some of the events they organized in the spring. I told her the truth, that this sweet, cute Catherine was sleeping with my husband while I was away, and she went silent and was in shock. She didn't want to believe, but in the end, I think she did. I asked her if Catherine knew he was married. Her reply was yes, because she, my sister-in-law, mentioned me at that first event when someone asked where I am. I had a flu, so I stayed home. But it was clear for everyone I am his wife. Relevant comments. Commenter. He just wants a woman who worships the ground he walks on, even if he does absolutely nothing for her. Do you really want to spend your life with a man like this? OP. It seems she does this. She is obsessed with him. I know my husband is a charming man, and he has what women usually seek, or at least very young women. He has the right dose of arrogance and confidence about him, the manly attitude and indifference. I mean, she is 24 and cooks for him and begs him to stay with her. I saw some texts between them. He had to show me. She was begging him to stay with her, to choose her, and he answered with 1 or 2 words. She is ready to give him a baby. We don't have children, and she decided, LOL, it's because I am selfish, and she will give him as many as he wants. My husband hates kids, LOL. Commenter. Babe, he's a narcissist. Run. There's better men out there who will love you for you. Commenter. Why are you staying with this gobshite? He wants the best of both worlds, and has zero respect for you and your feelings. A good young woman who lacks the vulgarity of this era. LOL. What? That's a lot of words to just say he was thinking with his dick. OP. I will not tolerate him anymore, but is normal to feel sad and disappointed. So I understand you are all telling me to divorce. Most probably I will, but the emotional part right now is killing me. I kept asking myself why he wanted her more than me. Why what he had with her was better than what he had with me. I looked at her photos. She looks like the sweetest girl. No cleavage, no makeup, no hair done, but in a sweet way that looks fake, like she is cunning. She can have any guy she wants probably. She has more than 300 likes on her photos, and guys who are telling her how beautiful she is. And she seems like she ignores them all. Why does she need my man? And geez, she shared a photo with a quote about what she considers real men from Jane Eyre. The beauty of a man lays in his power. Story 3. AITA for not checking in on my ex, and he nearly died. I, 35F, recently separated from my fiancé, 35 Mem, due to his excessive drinking, but we are still close and regularly see each other. After taking him to the ER overnight, I brought him home and he said he just wanted to chill solo, so I left. I attempted to message him but didn't hear back. This is unusual for him. However, I wanted to respect his boundaries. Late that night, 10 p.m., my ex's mom woke me up calling to ask me to go over there and check on him. I had a key and she doesn't. I declined to because I had just been woken up and figured that he was just ignoring both of us because he was drinking. And to be frank, I'm sick of the drinking and having to care for him. I'm sick of begging him to do things like get out of a urine-soaked bed so I can try to get him clean and dry. I'm sick of the relentless drunk screaming and crying. I'm burnt out. She ended up calling for a welfare check, and when the police came, he was drunk and severely ill. The doctor said he probably would have died if he hadn't been brought in that night. It was to the point that the hospital refused to release him when he tried to leave AMA and got the police and county attorney involved to force him to stay. His mom was pissed at me and refused to tell me, so I only found out a couple of days later that he is in the ICU on a ventilator. I feel incredibly guilty that had it been in my hands alone, someone I care about would be dead, so I came here to either relieve my guilt or be deservedly raked over the coals. Relevant comments. Commenter. NTA. Not even a little. He's not your responsibility. You took him to the ER. That was nice of you. His mom had other options, especially if you declined on the phone. She could have gone. Without a key, she could have used police to do a welfare check earlier. He is not your responsibility, even as a friend. He's a grown man with a drinking problem. That's sad, but it's his issue, his responsibility. For your own sanity, please back away from the situation some and let him get help on his own. Then you can be his friend. You can't be his friend and his ex, and his therapist, and his Uber driver, and his sponsor, and his ambulance, and his nurse, and his janitor, and be taking care of your own mental health here too. Commenter. First off, I'm really sorry you're dealing with such a difficult situation. It sounds like you've been through a lot, and it's completely understandable that you feel both guilt and exhaustion from everything. You aren't obligated to be your ex's caretaker, especially after the breakup and when his drinking has caused you so much pain and burnout. Setting boundaries is essential, and it seems like you tried to respect his wishes when he wanted to be left alone. It's tough because, in hindsight, things escalated in a way you couldn't have fully anticipated. That said, the guilt you're feeling is valid too. It's natural to care about someone you were once so close to, but that doesn't mean you should sacrifice your own mental health for them. His mom being angry is likely a reflection of her fear and grief, and while it's tough, her anger doesn't mean you did something wrong. You did what many people would have done in your shoes. Ultimately, it's important to give yourself grace. You're human, and you were dealing with a complicated mix of emotions, exhaustion, and frustration. Now focus on healing from this, and remember that you can care about someone without being responsible for their choices or health. Your NTA for prioritizing your own well-being, especially after everything you've been through. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest ones. Have a great day.